Hello, welcome back. We are here for Hearts of Camelot, Prince's Bride, episode 4. Okay, so previously on, one big thing happened, if I recall correctly, and that was an invasion of the camp. Um, but our players can definitely say what affected their characters the most from last time, if you please.
Mm.
Um, and I'm happy with whomever wants to start. Um, yeah, just to remind us of where we were.
I guess
Uh,
I
Go ahead.
well, okay. I guess I can go first. We initially saw Perin at the monastery. He had a conversation with Brother Saymond, which was more tense than it needed to be, just because the bishop is putting a lot of pressure on him for this marriage to go off. He ended up collecting the saint's bones of Saint Adamus for good luck, and left to meet up with the others on his new donkey Ezekiel. Somehow he ended up getting captured along the way by these brigands or mysterious people, and was rescued by Alacritus in bear form. But he still thinks that it was his old mentor magister, Alacritus, and not Riesling. And then he just felt very weary and tired from all the people who were killed. And he's going to need some help with comfort and support at some point, probably.
All right. I can pick up. So the campsite was attacked by some kind of brigands or bandits, and uh, Roderick was on protecting Llurywenn. We had stationed guards, like Xena and Sir Bart were supposed to be on guard, as was Gauter. Um, and turns out none of them had stayed at their posts, and bad guys got all the way up to the princess. Uh, so Roderick wound up like jumping in, sword drawn, uh, and he managed to injure some of the bad guys, but not slay them outright. And at the final moment, Llurywenn uh, had to use the bad guys' sedative. They had some kind of like knockout drug on one of the bad guys themselves, and this was a very uncomfortable experience for Llurywenn. Uh, Roderick attempted to offer her comfort after that, and she's just like, nah. So that was a very hard endure heartbreak on Roderick. And Llurywenn was very insistent that he go attend to his duties, mostly figure out why the hell of like 3 people on guard, none of them saw the bad guys. So Roderick stormed off gallantly to go figure out where the whole insecurity was. Uh, so yeah, he's not happy. Uh, we'll see exactly what the fallout between him and Llurywenn is. Um, he also managed to rendezvous with Brother Perin in the aftermath, and it's very clear that Roderick cares about Perin, but lacks the vocabulary to express that. So I would love to see more of that, like, hey, I'm really glad you're alive. How do I say I actually care about you without putting my foot in it? Yep, that's Roderick.
Yeah, for Princess Llurywenn, it started off all very cute and sweet, where she sort of reconnected with Sir Roderick over their shared past and taking care of his injury. That was then very quickly undone by a very stark reminder that, nah, it's not the way that it used to be, is it? Because now I am to be queen, and there's a bunch of people who want me dead, and you are an actual knight who chops up people's hands instead of, poking them with a stick or something cute. So that was a bit of a wake up for Llurywenn, who I think most of all felt just like very guilty that people died for her. She's very much feeling like she's the cause of this, and now people are dead because she was here. She tended to the wounded together with Brother Perin. She caught Garrison's last words as he died, which were to warn her about Magister Alacritus, as he does not trust him and notice that something's wrong. So that's definitely still playing in Llurywen's mind, and she might, in a bit of an obscure way, talk to Brother Perin about that. See if she can gleam out, find out more about that. Yeah, she did have the big sort of I have to be queen now, and someone has to be responsible for this breach in security, and unfortunately, that someone is Sir Roderick. And also, if he hugs me now, I'm going to cry in front of this whole camp, and that's too embarrassing. So, anger it is, if that's the two choices we've got. She immediately felt terrible about it. And the way that we left her off was when she is alone, which again, terrible security breach. But she is alone interrogating the knight or the person that we caught, because they have something to do with her people and her lands. Like, they speak in a language that's similar but not completely the same. And we left her off with her basically asking, why are you doing this? We are on the same side. And the bad guy, for a lack of better term, responding by, well, if that's true, then why are you going to marry the enemy? Why are you aligning yourself with the enemy? That's sort of where we left Llurywenn off.
Okay, so Riesling has been continuing his attempts to pretend to be Alacritus. He started off by having a conversation with Xena that he's probably giving away more and more that he's actually concerned about her well-being, which since she does not know Alacritus, this does not seem to be out of place, but it is very much out of character. He then wants to take a moment to investigate the Fae that he saw following them, and tells Xena that it was for purposes of meditation. And during that, while going out, he was attacked by bandits and captured and taken back to a wagon, I assume to be one of the people that were going to be kidnapped. However, Riesling is not Alacritus, he's Fae, so he turned into a bear, and which opened up the cage, whatever had him trapped, very nicely, and everyone ran away, and that's where he discovered Perin had also been kidnapped. He helped free Perin, taking a moment to act very unalacritus again by nuzzling Perin, and then offering him a ride back to camp. So I'm not going to say, I just got ready to say the words and I was like, that would not sound right. So I'm not going to say he just went back. Because I was like, oh, he got the ride back bareback. And that's probably not something I should say, but I said it now. Okay. Keep going. We get back to the camp. They arrive, and to all the turmoil that's happening, Roderick had been dressed down, and so Alacritus got to be the misdirected anger was directed at Alacritus's apprentice, which Alacritus would not have cared. However, this is not Alacritus, this is Riesling, so Riesling immediately took responsibility, a very un-wizard-like thing to do, to defend Xena from whatever wrath Roderick had for her. And so Roderick chewed out Riesling in a very mature and wizardly way, like throws shade like a very mature wizard would do, and things kind of went from there. So I think there's going to have to be a moment where Alacritus talks to Xena afterwards, because Xena pointed out some information he probably should have known, that he did not know and would have probably changed what he had to say. And she pointed out during the meeting, which is how you want uh, your people to inform you of important details. And so that will probably be a conversation that needs to have. I don't think Alacritus knows. I don't know if I think Alacritus knew that Garrett, his I guess rival, or on one-sided rival on Garrett's side, that he has basically said something's wrong with Alacritus, but Alacritus is perfectly normal. He's exactly like Alacritus that everyone knows and loves and respects. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And nothing will come from it.
Nothing will come from it except a lot of repercussions, I'm sure. So anyway, given that, I think, after tending to the wounded, seeing to the dying and the dead, you're gonna have to start moving. Like, the camp is going to have to be packed up, and everybody's gotta start moving, because obviously this is not a safe place to be here. However, we left off Llurywenn in the middle of interrogation, or the beginning of an interrogation, with the remaining bandit, who, if I recall correctly, looks similar to your people. So I don't know if you want to address that, or if we want to fast forward and, you have a conversation with Roderick, or if Roderick wants to, surprise Llurywenn in the midst of this thing. And, Perin wants to, go see Alacritus or whatever. Anyway, tell me what you want to get done this particular episode.
Yeah, I think I do want to sort of pick up with that interrogation and see if maybe, I don't know, I can prevail upon for information, or I did also take a move that makes me better at spotting secrets and
Ooh,
getting
nice.
stuff for secrets, which seems like it might come in handy here.
Cool.
Other than that, I mean, I'm totally up to seeing just where the session goes. So this doesn't necessarily all need to happen. But I think Princess Llurywenn would love to talk to Brother Perin about Alacritus. And depending on how the session goes and how much tension there is, I think Princess Llurywenn might pull a full King Arthur and call everyone together and basically be like, okay, guys, I get it, but we need to shape the fuck up because we can't be like this. But in a very princessly manner. But that kind of depends on how all this drama is going to affect the camp. If it's more internal and people are still functioning, I don't think she would do that. But if it's real bad, she might pull some rank here.
Okay. I also want to establish, as far as I understand it, out of the NPCs that we knew about, Xena, Gauter, and Sir Bart are still okay, or injured, whatever. But everybody else is kind of maybe aside from one or
Yeah.
two unnamed, then there's really little.
Yeah, so Garrison was the only named NPC that we lost, and there were potentially.
The Bard? Did the Bard survive or no?
I thought he did.
Yeah, I didn't hear the bard dying, so I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I really don't remember that.
All right, that's fine.
So that's totally up to you, Matt. It's essentially you tell us.
I
Yeah.
can't remember what I said. So,
Oh, great.
okay. So, all right. Anyway, keep going.
All right, so for Roderick, he really needs to talk to Xena and Sir Bart, and just be like, "Yo, the fuck." So, yeah, I would like that scene to happen before we break camp and start moving. Beyond that, emotional fallout bits for Roderick is talk to Perrin and just be like, "Oh my God, I'm glad you're alive," and eventually talk to Llurywenn and be like, "Ah." But that's probably towards the end of the session or later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perin is probably just doing some botany like research. He's very curious about this poison that he's never seen before, or sedative or whatever it is. So, you know, if someone wants to find him later, that's what he'll be doing. He might have roped one of the other NPCs into it as well.
I'll let you decide whether you want that to be Xena or Gauter.
I've had a lot of scenes with Gauter already. So yeah, let's see Xena, and that'll give Jonn a way to come into.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that the only, well, if Roderick comes upon you, Perin, then that'll be that particular
Yeah,
scene.
I feel like enough people want to talk to me that I can be a little more passive about it, I guess.
Okay. Alrighty. And Alacritus or Riesling?
Yeah, also would like to talk to Perrin, but I think talking to I will like you probably need to have a conversation with Xena because this was a big enough of a fiasco that needs to happen. And I think probably he'd have to talk to Llurywenn only because he's concerned that Roderick may be skewing things towards placing the blame on him because of the way their conversation went. And so he would probably feel like he needs to make sure that this isn't being directed at him or Xena specifically, even if it is partially their fault.
Yeah.
Riesling is not about having it's not about being an actual good wizard. He's about trying to be a good wizard.
Okay.
He's slightly more petty than Alacritus.
I will remind you that Roderick tried to talk to Xena last session and Riesling jumped in.
Yes.
It's like, blame
Yes.
me, not her. So Riesling
Right.
brought that upon himself.
Right, but Riesling is also petty. So, like, yes, he did those things. 100% did those things. And yet.
And yet. I mean, he's also probably not necessarily a think it through kind of dude. So, I mean, you know, just what it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. And if you want to invite anybody to stumble in upon your continuing the interrogation, Llurywenn, like, just like, say so. And then this way we can like make sure that
Yeah, I
people are
think
lined up.
depending on how it goes, she might send for Gauter because she does like see like this connection. Is like, oh, maybe he knows more about like because he's also sort of my people with the fake connection, but not really. But he's also not. He's also Escavalon. So I think depending on how it goes, maybe a bit later she might call for him and see if he knows more.
Sure. I'll put that as a parentheses. Alrighty. So, yeah, just like amongst yourselves, like in chat or whatever, then just kind of like line up what scene will happen after, or we think that will happen after Lurywenn's interrogation, and then we can like just keep going from there because I like to see this wonderful flow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this person, I don't think I've named them. Don't think they've given their name, if I recall correctly. They just looked at you and said, "Why are you marrying into the enemy?" Yeah.
Llurywenn looks at him and says, so that we may be enemies no longer, so that there may be peace for all of us.
There can be no peace.
Not if we keep fighting.
These are the people that drove off or extinguished the light of all the spirit hawks in our lands. They are to blame. And to
Will
give
your
yourself to
bloodshed bring
them,
it back?
extinguish their light of the hawks. Aren't you afraid that they're going to extinguish your light too? We're trying to save you.
I see now. You act out of fear. That I do understand. But there shall be no violence great enough to keep you safe from the fear that lives within you. If it rests in your bones, it shall rest there forever until you killeth within you.
We were
I know.
tasked to get you. Bring you back.
Get me where?
Avanyddyd. Bring you back. And hold you for a ransom. But not in riches, but in acknowledgement for us, the branching of the people, to be one again. But I guess it's been so long. It was only when we had heard that you were going to become the enemy's princess, the enemy's queen, that we decided to act.
I acknowledge your pain, and I acknowledge your loss and your suffering, for whatever that may be worth to you. And if my blood could set it all right, I would spill it, believe me. I would take the dagger myself.
Aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid of them extinguishing your light too?
If it must be so, then it must be so. I shall not let fear guide me. It is not a very good advisor.
So what happens now?
You tell me who tasked you. And if you give me this information, you will go with your life, as I have promised you before.
And he looks like he's trying to say. He looks like he's trying to get it out, but it's almost like something invisible is preventing him from speaking. And you can see it because his eyes, even though bruised and battered and whatever, you can see that his eyes are literally going bloodshot because of the effort that he's making, and he's almost crying, but he can't say. It's like something has stopped him.
Yeah, I think that's what I call for Gauter and probably Brother Perin, because he did seem to know about magic, or perhaps this is a curse or something divine.
Yeah, so if you're free.
Do you want me to roll for prevail upon before that, or is it just like, do we need to do the magic thing first?
And yeah, check for magic thing first. It's like, if
Okay.
you or whatever you'd like to do. I mean, I'm not gonna make you do a roll if it's like it seems like he's limited from something else,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in that case, Llurywenn will send for Brother Perin and Gauter.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he would come. He's at the princess's disposal.
Yeah.
I don't know
Gauter will
about
come
Perin.
soon after, yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't speak for him, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
as you both arrive,
yeah.
Llurywenn nods at you and says, Brother Perin, Gauter, I believe some kind of magic, or perhaps curse, is keeping this man from telling us the truth that we must know. And she'll kind of point out, the bloodshot eyes, the way that he tries to talk, but it won't come out.
You poor soul. I know not who has done this to you, but no curse is stronger than the power of faith. It can be broken. And he sort of kneels before the person's feet, the bandit's feet, and he starts just touching his forehead and muttering, and touching his shoulder and muttering prayers. And I'd like to try to do a miracle to lift a curse or magical spell here.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is this like one of your moves, or
It is my epic move.
excellent?
I can
okay.
roll plus destiny.
Okay.
And if it works, I can prevent or remove a curse or magical spell.
Okay.
It's plus destiny and not unmarked destiny is the one problem. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
6 plus 1. I got an 8.
Okay. So that does bring on misfortune unless you decide to spend a point of destiny to
Nope. Bring
No.
on that misfortune.
fun. Okay, hold on. I'm just like making notes of the 8 on epic moving. So misfortune.
I think the prayer is kind of like a parable about, people who are speaking in tongues or, are mute, and then the light of the saints come upon them and suddenly they can, their speech bursts forth, stuff like that. On Llurywenn, I don't think you see anything inherently magical, but maybe he just does start to speak in a little bit, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you kind of see like his mouth loosen like a bit
Mm.
more and a bit more as you
Mm.
tell this parable in calming and like a contemplative tone. And it's like, his eyes roll back in his head, actually, as you're trying to do this. And I think, when his mouth opens, I ask you, Brother Perin, what is a particular hymn that is Bishop Samon's favorite? Doesn't have to be a real one. It could just be like a title of one or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the parable of the forester. And yeah, because there's just like a lot of woods in Escavalon, and it's all about being humble, and of course dutiful to the church. Maybe the forester, instead of clearing fields for himself, always donated a tenth of his proceeds to the church, or he built a church somewhere, like a shrine. So it's about servitude and faithfulness.
Yeah. And that's what he comes out with. He doesn't say, he sings Bishop Samon's favorite hymn. And you recognize it as such. And like his eyes are like rolling back into his head as he's doing this, as if you've released something, and that is your clue.
Yeah, Perin just starts openly weeping at the beauty of his transformation, and like, oh, praise to be the saints, praise to the bishop, and all of that nonsense. He's very pleased with this.
But what was the question?
Who has tasked you with this? And that's the hymn that he starts singing. Yeah, I think we see like Llurywenn, like it's like a very neutral phase. Like, like he might as well, like it might as well not have worked. Like there's nothing on her face that you can say, like she's feeling this way or that way, but she is starting to feel very, very worried. And I think we do get kind of like that dramatic glance where she kind of like glances at Brother Perin, knowing that he was sent.
Gauter will slowly and respectfully come up to your side, Llurywenn, and then just kind of whisper under his breath, Who is this, milady?
One of the captives. The only one who made it out. Do you recognize his kin?
I say yes. I incriminate myself. If I say no, I also incriminate myself.
You can
this is
only
where-
incriminate yourself to someone who is willing to judge. That is not my task.
It is. I do not remember what they call themselves, but they are a tribal sect of your people, Your Highness. They have been, I'm not going to say underground, but they have been stealthy in their activities, made known their displeasure at being shut out of Avannyddyd's acknowledgement. I know them because I was raised by one of them.
And yet you travel with the Princess of Escavalon.
Who had escaped and come to Escavalon for shelter. And because I looked more like my father.
I see. Do you share their sentiments, Gauter? That I have failed these people, and that this marriage will fail them again? Speak frankly, there shall be no consequences.
They blame Avanyddyd for letting the queen kill all of the spirit hawks, thinking it a mockery of what is now Spirit Hawk Peak, the only monument to their existence. I do not share that. It is why I protect as much as I can. I am a hunter for Escavalon, but only for need, not for sport. I protect as much as I am able to teach, as my mentor, Saint Adamus, had done or tried to do. But some, I guess, are more fanatic about their beliefs. I do not share their sentiment. I do not believe their way is right. And again, as you saw, it is more of fanaticism rather than truth.
And I think as he says that, he feels a hand upon his arm as Perin has risen to his feet. And Perin is completely oblivious to what you've been talking about, as usual. And he looks over to Llurywenn and he's like, "Forgive me, my lady. I will require the services of our friend for a moment. I must write the Bishop Saymond. He will be most pleased to hear about this miraculous return of speech and the events that have happened here, your safety. So I will write him a letter and have Gauter send it out via his wonderful hawk friend. So if you'll excuse us." And
Gauter
Perin is
goes,
just gonna immediately go inform the bishop of everything that happened.
and Gauter will look back at you, Llurywenn, and just give you this look like,
Llurywenn nods, and like as Brother Perin exits, like as Gauter sort of passes Llurywenn, she says, "Let him write the letter, and inform me to the letter what is in it. Do not stop him."
Gauter bows. Yes, Your
And
Highness.
then when they both leave, she pulls out a knife, looks at the prisoner, and closes in on him. We see the knife like flash to his throat, and then a quick flick of it as the ropes are cut and fall from his wrists. She says, "I gave you my word that you may go free, so go free you shall. I would gladly share my table with you in talks of peace, but if you come at me again with violence, I cannot promise you will keep your life a second time."
Understood. And as he turns to go and like kind of duck out like on the other side of the tent, I think he'll look back at you and say, "You may not believe it now, but you are beloved amongst all of the people, which is why we wanted to take you and save you from this."
"I appreciate your love, but I cannot condone your ways." And she like signaled to the guards to escort him safely to the edge of the camp. And then I think we just see like a scene of her alone where she like stands in this cold princessly manner that she has been projecting, and then just falls to her knees and starts crying.
Yep. Okay. What next? Switching to Roderick or Alacritus. What scene do you want next?
I just remember that Gauter and Alacritus were both going to investigate the wagon because they were racing there, and so I do want to have the scene with Alacritus and Gauter at the wagon where Perin and he himself were kidnapped.
Let me see. Yeah,
With the sword
somewhere,
cabin.
somewhere in there, like, we can like, time hand wave, whatever, timey-wimey BS, that happens, but then Gauter gets back in time to,
Yeah.
to the camp.
Mhm.
So yeah, real quick, when we're at the scattered camp or wagon of the bandits, you will see like Ezekiel, I guess, still kind of tied up
Mhm.
as if ready to be taken as part of their herd or whatever in their escape.
Mhm.
But I mean, like, yeah, Ezekiel seems pretty calm now that you're in Alacritus form and not in bear form. So
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm trying to think of how he would start it. I was like, Gauder, we should look around and see if there's anything that they left behind here. They had taken Perin, so they're they captured him. There may be some other thing they had, other preparations they had. Maybe we can even find what they were using on the guards, so we can better prepare for it.
agreed. Will you be looking in the wagon? I want to take to the trees and see if I can spot anything from above.
That will work. We should probably have a conversation while we're out here, but let's look for any evidence to figure out who these people are. When I turned to bear form, a number of them ran away, so they could still be out there and have not given up on their planning.
I will take care of that. And then he kind of taps the bow that he has like strapped to his front. Yeah. And he will immediately parkour his way up into the trees.
Okay, so I imagine they're going to look around for whatever they can find
Mm.
and regroup at some point. But
Oh
I
yeah.
would like to see if I could discover anything that might be helpful that that could be used so that they can be better prepared next time.
Okay.
Because yeah,
I would gain insight is like the basic one to use in this case.
okay. Gain insight
Roll
is
plus
a wisdom.
wise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wise. Cool. So all the ongoing effects should be clear now if they were session long.
Until the end of the next session, if it was something that was that's acting on the okay, so if it was acting on the information that you gleaned last session, usually it says something like until the end of next session, you
Oh,
can
okay.
use +1 or whatever, towards it. Or like if it's
Okay.
+1 forward, it's the next roll. If it's +1 ongoing until the end of next session, then obviously it's like it's still in effect.
Okay. So I'm not sure if changing to bear still would that on there was oh no, that was a forward. Changing to bear had a forward, so I think I got that -1, so that's out the way. But acting on information, I think, is still ongoing to the next session. And would
To this
searching
session. Yeah.
here, yeah, would searching here, would that apply to searching here since I kind of did that
Last session.
roll,
Yeah.
perception roll here? Okay,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I have, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I probably should have figured that out before, and I just I didn't think about it until just now.
Okay. Well, +1 plus wise.
All right. Let's see. Make conflicts. Sorry about that. I didn't put a name in.
No worries.
7.
7. Okay, so you succeed, but there is misfortune unless you decide to mark a point of destiny to avoid it.
Actually, I think I'm going to try to use my I don't know, maybe it's not worth it here. No, it's not worth it here. I'm not going to use my epic move to avoid it.
Okay.
So, no. So, there will be misfortune.
Okay. So if you do go into the wagon, I think what you will find is you will find the like a distillation kind of setup where they have like crushed herbs or the crushed something or others that they were using to coat the dart points. And like you see the distillery, like it's a very small apparatus to distill the herbs with some, water or other chemicals like, liquid to create this stuff that is sticking to the dart points. I think you recognize it because of the smell. I mean, like,
Yeah, I imagine I put it up my nose, smell it, and immediately state what it is. I don't know. So what is it? Or
I
is
mean,
it
it's a
does not
sedative.
have an
It's a very
okay.
strong sedative, but I will say
Okay.
for Faye, it's a very strong sedative. For others, including humans, it could have a maybe even more devastating effect. It could be like more
Hmm.
poisonous, which is why like a lot of people went down. when they got
Okay.
hit with the dart. I can't get over Maki in the frame. Sorry. Okay,
That's
sorry.
fine. Understandable.
Okay, but anyway,
That's cheating.
yes, that is cheating. It's like, hi. Anyway,
Yes. This could be potentially. I sniff it.
Mhm.
This could be potentially fatal to humans. This, I will place it in some sort of, like, I imagine that I have some sort of like satchel or pouch that I can put it into, so I can take it with me as evidence. If I can identify, if I can identify the herbs, I'll collect the herbs anyway, because they may be the unused stuff, maybe something I can use to possibly create a counteracting agent. So I would want to collect that as well. If there's nothing else, then if there's nothing else of interest here, I'll probably take what I know back once I talk to Gauter. I'll let Gauter know what I found as well. So
I think
I'll
it's
wait for him to return.
There's a very small window that happens to be near the distillery portion of this thing, and I think it's only by virtue of a lot of hand waving and like a dim reflection that you see that as you are taking the last of the herbs and putting them into your pouches, I think you see a reflection of something behind you.
Oh, can I identify what it is without turning around, or I just kind of just see some movement? Feel like, since
You see some movement. Let's not bend credulity any more than we have to. So yeah, you see some movement behind you.
I would suggest against whatever it is you intend to do. I don't turn around, and I continue what I'm doing.
I see. Okay. I'm gonna say that you're gonna need to defend from harm. And it's going to be at a -1.
Okay.
So defend yourself from physical danger, roll plus vigorous, -1.
Okay. All right, let's roll this. $12.
Nice. All right. So tell me how you succeed in defending yourself from a dagger that's whistling towards your face.
Okay. Well, I guess the back of my head. So I think when I hear the cart creak as they set their feet to lunge, I step to the side and the dagger flies just past my face, probably catching like maybe almost catching my mantle, the mantle I have on. Then I grab the arm and send him toppling into whatever it is, toppling into the brewery thing, whatever the distillery. And probably then this is like I tried to warn you, and like this kind of kick him the most unwizardly like action, and like I just kick him try to kick them unconscious by kicking them in the head, then knock them out.
Okay.
I'm not as old as I look.
All right. So with that 12, I mean, like, like I'm definitely going to say that you managed to do this thing. You're pretty damn spry. Awesome. And then you can receive +1 forward for any other like physical altercations, if there are any further
Mhm.
along. Okay. In this scene, I should say. Okay.
Right. Okay. Hmm.
But yeah, like you managed to catch them unawares, and even it might be even accidental. It's like,
Mhm.
you have them crash into the distillery and then maybe they knock themselves out too. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, there you see the dark colors of this person, and their face is wrapped in a hood scarf. Yep.
Like
As
pull
they're
off the
prone.
scarf.
Uh, since they're prone on the ground, like you just see the profile of someone that looks a lot like the prisoner that the princess
Hmm.
had. And
Hmm.
then I think you see like they're unconscious and they have like some scars and such, but you can't really see much more than that.
Well, if this was recent, he probably would just drag the body, but that would not seem like a very wizardy thing to do. So, um, I is what shape is the wagon in?
It's kind of like a imagine half of a van kind of thing. Like it's not that
Mhm.
big, but it's like big enough that you can stand up in it and such. And
There
Okay.
is a donkey very close nearby too.
Right.
mhm.
That's what I was thinking. Like if if turning into the bear didn't damage it too bad, I'm going to tie this individual up.
Oh, okay.
And then get Ezekiel on here if Ezekiel is big enough to pull this wagon, we're going to drive the wagon back to the camp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll return. I mean, we'll just say that Gauter and I decided to meet back at the camp and not back at the wagons, I
Oh,
guess.
okay.
Or maybe he can. I mean, maybe he um finds Alacritus while he's riding back, so they can have their conversation on the wagon.
Yeah, I think he's like, yeah, like maybe casting some shadow, like the camera cat sees the cast shadow onto the roof of the wagon, and then as you're riding back, then you see him like drop down onto the wagon's roof, and then like comes to sit next to you. Oh wait, are you driving the wagon with Ezekiel drawing it, or are
Hmm.
you riding Ezekiel?
Oh no, I'm driving the wagon with Ezekiel pulling
Okay,
it.
so he drops onto the roof of the wagon, and then he'll sit next to you.
It seems one of them had the ideals of stabbing me in my back. So perhaps another individual we can get information from. What did you find?
Saw the tracks of all of the bandits that were here. They had scattered back into the forest, tracing back to where we had come. It seems they followed
Ah,
us.
well, then we'll need to make sure the princess is aware that the threat isn't completely gone then. So we should have that conversation now. You were looking at me strangely. Would you like to tell me why?
He continues to give you the side eye and then decides to get get something out of one of the little pouches. It was only a suspicion at first, but then I found this while I was tracking the footprints and the tracks of those who ran away. And he will hold up something, and you're driving relatively slow enough that you can take a look without
Mhm.
worrying about it. Um,
Mhm.
please tell me what symbols are on the handkerchief that he holds that remind you of the Order of Starlight.
Well, I think the symbols are various like astrological symbols, um, like both astrology and astronomy. They're all stylized, and I believe that they're in a string. So basically, it's almost like a language for that the Order of Starlight uses to communicate. It's like, and so that anyone who is the Order of Starlight would be familiar with this language, but anyone outside of it would not know it. And they couldn't, it's not a cipher, it's an actual language that was created. It's kind of referred to the star language because of it.
Is it
Yeah.
something that would be on Alacritus' clothing, or something that other people would have seen, but of course not acknowledged as a language? It would have just been recognized as the Order of Starlight.
I think he may have occasionally have something embroidered on a part of his clothing. It's one of those things that, yes, a lot of people would see it and recognize it as the Order of Starlight, but not many people would know what it means. So having it embroidered on like a handkerchief or something like that could be like one mage might embroider something on a handkerchief as a gift to another mage. It's kind of like as a gift, or I mean, it could just be monogrammed, and you just have it monogrammed with the string that whatever phrase or term that you associate with yourself. You might have that, kind of like how people get tattoos of words that. It's like kanji. I'm not gonna say it's like how people get tattooed kanji. It's like it's a language, but it's not really a common language.
Right. I'm going to say that let's go a step further to make it even more fun. I'm going to say that Gauter will, I think it's a mistake, but I also believe in being fair and open.
And what
This
mistake?
looks like symbols that you have worn on your person, and leads me to believe that perhaps you have some sort of connection to these bandits.
I have no connection with these bandits, not to my knowledge.
And why do they
It's
have
possible. Can I see it?
Absolutely. And he'll take the reins,
And,
like, if you'll like do the trade or whatever. And
yeah.
again, to make it more interesting, I'm going to say that you recognize it in the language of the Order. You recognize the symbols. She is here.
And so, but would I recognize this as something that Magister Alacritus? I guess that's the question.
Well, that's my question for you. I mean, like, if Riesling doesn't
okay.
recognize that as something that, like, as the actual language
Okay.
itself, then you don't
Sorry.
know that. But I'm giving you meta knowledge that Alacritus would
Okay.
very well know that, as that's what's written on the handkerchief in Order language.
All right.
I'm wondering if that triggers one of your dilemmas, though, because it's like, well, how involved is Alacritus in this, right? You don't know. So there's that uncertainty.
Well, that's the kind of direction I was going. I was wanting to make sure about information before I threw something out there that didn't make sense. Okay,
Right.
So I think I know I'm going to respond then.
Okay.
This does not necessarily mean it's from Alacritus. From me, this could be someone of the my order, the majestic Order of the Starlight.
I was
Now
fair and
that's
open with you, Alacritus. Do
and
you
I'm
not think
being
that this is time to be fair and open with me? Who are you?
like Alacritus looks like Riesling is like looking at it and trying to it's like his brain is going like 100 miles trying to figure out find what is the path out of this situation, and so he can probably see the wheel spinning. I I this what do you mean who am I? I'm Alacritus, Magister Alacritus. Why would you ask such a silly question?
Because you don't smell like Alacritus.
He's just okay. I don't.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we can leave it at there. Let's go to Roderick.
No. I think he's gonna finally. He's gonna like.
Coming clean.
It's because I'm Riesling.
What?
Magister Alacritus had disappeared. He was on another mission and didn't return in time to join this, and I couldn't allow everything he'd set in motion to fail. So I am filling in for him and instead.
What do you mean filling in? Who? I don't think Gauter's seen Riesling.
Right. You are familiar with this. You are familiar with familiars, I imagine.
Yes.
I've been Alacritus's companion since he was a child. I am his familiar.
Being so lofty and in his own chambers, he would not deign to sully his robes with meeting me.
I am and I am not actually Alacritus. I'm trying to make his plans go off without the hitch. And his action, what he would do, is not necessarily what is best for his goals. And I've been trying to do what I believe is best. And sometimes that I am not the man himself. I am my own. I am merely trying to be the best Alacritus for this situation. You can understand that. You've met the man before.
Yes, pompous fool, but he stops himself and then just taps the handkerchief in your hands and says, "So what of this? Where do your
This could
loyalties
be
lie?"
my loyalties lie in completing his mission. This handkerchief could as easily be from any other mage or wizard of the order that is from him. This is just a script that we all know, that they all know.
Ask you to roll endure heartbreak.
Okay.
I mean, what are you gonna do if you
That
lose
seems right.
control?
That sounds right. Because this is not, I mean, I was going to say that earlier, but I was like, yeah, this is getting to the point. The enduring heartbreak is destiny, roll plus destiny.
Hold
Or
on.
hold on, I'll look it up.
It's unmarked destiny, so the
Unmarked.
destiny,
Yeah, unfulfilled. Unfulfilled destiny. Yeah.
Unfulfilled destiny. Okay. So that'll be a
But what
+4
do you
then.
what are you going to do if you lose control? Just for
Okay.
funsies.
Um, I think if he loses control,
Mhm.
he is going to express his opinion about what he thinks Magister Alacritus is doing. Like his truthful opinion of the situation, not like it's
Gotta be
yeah, I
something
think
melodramatic.
it's like his negative opinion of what the situation is,
Right.
with him wanting to marry these two for without actually, I mean, using them as pawns, really. That is
Yeah. Yeah.
like more of a rant against what he thinks is
Sure.
happening.
Okay. So roll plus unfulfilled destiny, please.
Okay. So that'll be a +4. So I don't have 9. Is that mixed?
Oh yeah. Endure
Yeah.
heartbreak. So you succeed in keeping control, and you will take +1 forward for your next roll, whatever it is, but for
Okay.
mastering your heart. However, there will be some misfortune coming. I don't know where, I don't know when. We'll figure this
Okay.
out. Okay. Because I still owe Perin some misfortune. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I think he will share his opinion in a more constructive way, though.
Mhm. Yeah.
I cannot I can not rule out that this is Alacritus, but this proves nothing more than that there is another sorcerer. There is a sorcerer who seems to have intentions to kidnap Perin and at least Princess Llurywenn. I couldn't tell if it was any attempt for Sir Roderick or any other members, but it was clear they wanted to capture Perin, because they did, and they captured me for a moment before I don't believe they realized I was either Fae or a wizard, and they attempted to take Princess Llurywenn. So why Perin specifically, I don't know, because so it's possible that they were also after Sir Roderick, but none of this seems to make sense for what Alacritus was attempting. He wants this union for whatever reason, is the union between them. But I believe will bring peace in the top. Maybe not immediately, but eventually there will be peace where there was conflict and tension. I don't necessarily agree with the method, but his purpose is sincere.
Hmm.
At least I believe it is. That's what I believe.
You said your name was Riesling.
Yes.
Might be good to keep your secret for now. Does anyone else know?
No. You're the only person that I believe suspects anything.
Garrison did.
Garrison simply didn't like Alacritus, so if he suspected anything, he suspected Alacritus, not that I was in disguise as Alacritus.
That is true.
As you said, Alacritus can sometimes be a pompous ass.
Not sometimes.
We're going to just not agree on this point.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
But I mean, like you can see the smirk on his face, like, on the one side of his face, and it's fine. But I think he's going to continue to suggest you keep your secret to yourself, and he will keep mum as well as you make your way back to the camp. But he will say, it doesn't make any sense. You are correct. But what does make sense is that we are going to need to move. We need to pack up camp and make our way to Spirit Hawk Peak as soon as possible.
Yes, and we will need to be better prepared for sorcery. That is, I am certain of, regard of whoever it may be. There seems to be a sorceress with a source, with a sorcerer with a different agenda than Alacritus.
You go ahead and keep that. And keep that hidden. But what do you want
Yes.
to do with that? And then he'll indicate with the jut of his chin the person on that you've tied up and I guess put on Ezekiel, or did you just like left him in the wagon?
Yeah, I tied him up in the inside the wagon.
Got it.
I'm going to leave that for Sir Roderick to deal with. If there's any information to glean, perhaps that might be useful. If
And
not, go
I
ahead.
think the misfortune is that I think you hear like a clatter, and then you realize there was like some sort of trap door or something like that, like not just the single window, because it's like, if you hear the clatter, you're going to like look to the side, and then you see that the trap door is hanging open, and that person has rolled out of the wagon and is running and doing what Gauter does, which is tree dancing their way away.
Well, I don't see any
I thought
purpose
you
in
said you
pursuing
tied them up.
I did. If I tied you up, you'd probably have done the same thing just now.
It's true.
True.
I'm a wizard, not a sailor or someone who knows how to tie knots. Whatever. I didn't want to use magic on them because I have no idea what that might do, and it's a waste of my power. Even both, I suppose, sometimes I can also be a pompous ass as well as.
Sometimes. He smiles at you. We'll leave the scene there. Let's take our first break. So it'll be to the 45 mark, and then we'll come back and then start with Roderick for the next scene. All right, see you then. All right, so what scene would you like to enact, Sir Roderick?
So, yes. I want to do kind of a two-part thing. First, I want to talk to Sir Bart. This would be really short. And then after people have done their various investigations, I'd like to see if we can all convene, because there's a lot of information going around. So, yeah, I think it'd be nice to get everybody in the same place. Okay, so with Sir Bart. Uh, so this would be while Riesling is off investigating the wagon, potentially when like Llurywenn and or Perin are talking to the prisoner, just like in that period.
And also
Uh,
probably he's like, unfortunately digging up the graves and such.
yeah.
So
Well, as mentioned at the end of last session, Roderick will join Sir Bart in very aggressively digging a hole. So yeah, goes over to Sir Bart and just goes, "Sir."
yeah, yes, sir. And like he'll salute, almost knocking himself out with a shovel.
You left your post.
Yes.
And pray tell, what caused such dereliction of duty?
He
Why
looks
did you
extremely
leave, man? Why did you leave?
She said she wanted to talk.
She?
Xena.
And what did you talk about?
Just about how nice it was to accompany the accompany the group, and how it was nice for her master to meet up with the Escavalons again, to meet up with us, and to just have this wonderful journey where we're going to accompany the princess for the wedding and go to Spirit Hawk Peak.
I see. Like raises eyebrows.
I mean, he's like, like doing like the whole, this is what we talked about. Not saying that's all we did, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think Roderick's been around enough to get that much. He raises eyebrows and just goes, if in the future a pretty young woman invites you to talk, do it off duty.
thought we were.
You left your post and left no
Garrison!
one to cover you.
Garrison was there. Garrison said he would cover for me. He knows it's been a while. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I mean, go to bury Garrison off tonight. Just
I know.
been a disappointment, sir. I'm so sorry.
Let this be a lesson for us all. When we shirk our duty, people pay with their lives. This is not a mistake that can happen again.
No, absolutely not. I pledge to you, and like he will go forearm to forearm with you, and I pledge to you, sir, this will not happen again.
See to it.
Yes, sir. Sir.
And yeah, Roderick will help Sir Bart in angrily digging graves.
Yeah. He does it like like more apologetically to every person that had fallen in the raid, and then
Roderick definitely shares in this like like I can't be too mad at him, but at the same time I gotta be mad. You walked off your shift. Like I have to be mad. Yeah.
Yeah, but this big teddy bear is not gonna. I mean, he's not gonna shirk his duty ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love Sir Bart. Just big teddy bear man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think after that, probably Roderick is going to get the camp packed up while people are doing their various tasks, and
Perin is actually doing that too. Like you see him, moving stuff onto carts and having a ledger of where everything is, and he looks physically and emotionally exhausted. He should not be helping with this, but he's doing it anyway.
All right. I think this might be a good time for Roderick to go up to Perin.
And he's like yawning. This is hard work. At the monastery, we used to get up every morning and do this. I don't know why it's been so challenging for me today, but hard work is good for the soul, as they say.
You've had a busy day. You've been kidnapped and held captive. You rode a bear, and you came back only to heal the entire camp? You've done quite a lot today. You've earned your rest.
He laughs. It's like, well, it will all be good inspiration for the book, right? An entire chapter at least.
Ah. Hold on, does Roderick know you're writing a book?
Did I not tell you? I'll have to show you some of I made an illustration of you, brother, and your valiant fight against the bear snake. once we have time, then, and he kind of like loses his train of thought and stumbles backward a little bit.
I think Roderick will put a hand on your shoulder so you don't fall over.
Hmm. I'm sorry, I just,
Or
I don't
take
think
a
I slept very well, and so much going on, as you say.
All right, please rest. You are no good to yourself nor to anyone here if you are so exhausted you can't stand up.
Can you please try and comfort and support me? Because I have
Yeah.
2 virtues marked.
I don't know if I have any skill at this, so it's just going to be up to the dice. But yeah,
Yeah.
Roderick's going to try. He's not
Mm.
good at this.
Mm.
How do I roll this?
Oh, roll plus wise. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh wait. Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, healing comfort. Sorry, it is plus
Yeah,
wise.
healing comfort is what it is. But I mean,
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there's a way we can kind of parlay this into helping you out, Perin. Give me a second.
Does this
It is one of your bonds, but I don't know if like you have any kind of dilemma that kind of determines anything regarding the. Oh, wait.
yeah, I
Okay,
do.
so love can be romantic, but love can also be like
Mhm.
sibling,
Yeah.
family, love for family. I don't know if you can parlay your
So this is
doodad
actually
for this.
yeah, no, this is actually one of my dilemmas. Roderick's utter
Mhm.
lack of faith conflicting with his love and care for Perrin.
Mhm.
There you go.
So
So yeah, that helps you.
Actually, you're probably mad at me a little bit because I'm working so hard because of this religious belief that I have to contribute, and like the
yes,
get up at the crack
this
of dawn and
moral
everything.
imperative that
And you're,
suffering is good for the soul. Roderick's
and
like,
you're like,
that's
take a nap.
yeah, like that is utter cat droppings. Please just rest.
Okay, all
Mhm.
right. So in this case, you check the box next to the dilemma, okay, because this
Okay.
involves Perrin,
Yes.
and then you add +1 to your roll for heal and comfort. So
All right.
+1 plus wise,
Okay, here we go.
2d6. We're trying to give some help here.
Yes. Oh, hey. Okay. So that's 8 on the dice plus 1 is 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Nice. Now I just want to remark, it still works the same exact way. So
Mhm.
9, you succeed. However, there is going to be some misfortune visited upon you.
Mhm.
Oh boy, okay.
If you're okay with that, fine. But if you're not, then you can go ahead and spend a point of destiny, like check off a point of destiny if you want to avoid misfortune.
Now let's do the misfortune.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then, so you
I-
essentially will be able to unmark all virtues that have been
Mhm.
affected in this case.
Yeah.
If you want to have a discussion about that, or like, what kind of words or what kind of like, brotherly comfort do you offer to Perrin?
Yeah. Actually, I had a question. For the misfortune,
Yeah.
can I request that Roderick be befuddled? I feel like that's a good state for Roderick.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Totally. Like, inflict that in condition. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it seems like
Mhm.
Roderick exists in this state of like perpetual confusion. So
Yeah.
And who will heal and comfort our hero, our champion?
I mean, am I allowed to comfort him back? I don't know how that works.
I don't see how that couldn't
Yeah.
happen if you want. I mean,
so
about your bro.
Well, go ahead. Yeah.
okay, so I think what Roderick will actually do is he will like kind of gently guide Perrin away from wherever he's been laboring and
Mhm.
just like sit him down on a bedroll near the campfire that hasn't been put away yet and
Mhm.
just say, it's almost ironic.
Mhm.
Not too long ago, I happened to say, if you are injured, generally in battle, and you do not let your men care for you, you are less effective as a warrior and as a leader than if you take the time to heal. Ironic then, is it not, that our healer refuses to care for themselves. If you were your own patient, what would you recommend?
As usual, you are quite astute, brother. Perhaps a break would be good. It's funny, I just thought back to our childhood when I was so sickly and could not make my way up the stairs. And I do you remember that I kept trying over and over up those winding stone steps? And finally, you and sometimes Archode took my my hand in each of yours and helped me up to the top and of that tower, and you were right then and you are right now. But brother, I don't know if this is my place to say, but I've noticed that while you have been quite physically strong compared to me, you yourself seemed to be in some sort of turmoil within. And I have been concerned.
Alas, I fear I will never have the acumen of a scholar, nor the grace to hide my emotions. It's my fault what happened here today. This breach in security should not have happened. This level of threat to us, to Our Lady, this should not have occurred. I thought I had done my duty. I posted guards. I made sure we had coverage. We had Gauter to scout. We had Xena for the arcane. We had Sir Bart for the physical. I thought I had covered our bases. I thought I had left the appropriate people on duty, people I trusted to keep the princess safe. And yet this threat got through our security. It is a failure of my leadership. It is a failure of my duty. And for all of that, as if I didn't know that myself, the princess was only too right to point it out.
And Perin just like taps his hand on the bedroll for you to take a seat next to him.
Clank, clank,
He's
clank,
like,
clank, as
yeah.
heavy armor sits down.
Brother, I never talked to you about this, but I know this feeling myself well. When I was very young and accompanying mother to the monastery the first time, you know that we came under an attack just the same as we did today. And she nearly died, and our mentor Adamus perished himself. And I blamed myself for that for a long, long time, that I could have done something, that I could have said something or been somewhere. But none of us are. I want to thank you because just now I realized from what you were saying, none of us are perfect. We are all flawed human beings doing the best that we are able. And I see everything that you do to protect us every day, even if others do not. And I just wanted to say thank you. And that it's okay to not be perfect, brother.
Roderick just kind of looks at his shoes. You can tell that what you're saying has kind of got to him. Like after the day he's had, he's just like, oh.
Well, let's find out if it did or not, I guess.
Yeah.
6 plus 2. Yep, 10.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I can unmark this.
Mm-hmm. You can totally unmark that. Yep.
Yay.
Yay.
All right,
If you
so
play
yeah.
the between, then this is essentially like, you're vulnerable moving each other, so it's beautiful. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah.
Bros.
Yeah. Roderick just kind of whispers, kind of under his breath. I know, I know we are flawed, and I can acknowledge one of my flaws. I I am not smart enough for this. I don't know who these people are or
Mhm.
why they chose to attack now. I didn't realize we had enemies on our tail. I can't protect us from a threat I do not understand. And I don't.
Well, luckily for you, you have much help in this matter. Myself and the Magister, and even Princess Llurywenn has a keen and intellectual mind. And when she was interrogating the prisoner, he opened up almost immediately. And worry not, brother. You can handle the protection, and we will handle the lore and investigation.
I must tell you, I tried to speak to Xena about why she walked off her post. Magister Alacritus intervened, told me he would take the blame for his apprentice's indiscretions. He blustered a lot, told me very little, didn't seemed completely convinced this was not an arcane threat in the least, which tells me nothing.
How many times has the Magister protected me, I wonder, when I was in trouble as a youth? I don't think it's any harm that he intended. But if you wish, we can go and ask for further clarification together, and perhaps he will open up more to the both of us.
I would appreciate your assistance. I don't think Magister Alacritus and I communicate very well. Also, did you say the princess interrogated the prisoner by herself? The
Didn't
prince?
you? Were you not aware of that?
No, the princess was very clear she wants nothing more to do with me. Seems to think my dereliction of duty has been one step too far. However, I made a promise to Archode that I would deliver her to him alive. I will do exactly that.
Yes, we will all do what is our best role. And he's like very confused about why you're so angry about this.
I feel like this is a good like insight check because Perin did mention that like Roderick's been out of sorts about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, go for it.
Is there a move for this? Like gain insight? Yeah.
For if you want to gain insight on,
Why
you know,
Roderick is so upset
why
that
he's
Llurywen's mad.
specifically about Laura. It seems more than normal.
Okay, we'll count that as a question, and then you would roll with wise, because I'm going to ask Roderick to see how much he reveals. What happened?
I got an 11. So...
Better spill your guts, Roderick.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, Roderick is again not a very good actor. Like you can tell what's happening. It's written across his face. So,
Sorry.
You can definitely tell that it's kind of twofold. He's actually come straight out and said, "I failed in my duty." So you know he's very upset about that, and he feels really guilty. Like Garrison, whom he thought was a good man, died because Roderick wasn't like doing his job well enough. And you can tell that anytime you bring up Llurywenn, it's very much a uh-oh. So you can tell there's something happening between Roderick and Llurywenn.
I think he gasped a little bit. He's like, "Brother, she is betrothed to our brother. That is..."
Yes, I know.
I understand how one might feel that way if she's quite a lovely princess, but we must all, as you said, we must all worked in
I
our
will
capacity to.
do I will do my duty. And never fear. She has made it abundantly clear she does not care for me. So, never fear. No breach has been committed. I have simply done what I was obligated to do. I defended her life, nothing more, nothing less.
I feel like I have to endure heartbreak here.
Yes!
This is one of my
Loyalty to one brother, and oh shit, never mind. It's to both.
yeah.
Yes.
It's to both of my brothers. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
So unmarked destiny. What am I worried about happening? Oh man.
How are you losing control? If you lose control.
I think the more interesting thing here is for me to be all in on like, no, actually I'm wrong. You have to tell her how you feel. Forget everything. Because what he wants to do is just to be a dutiful brother, right? So losing control would be the opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
But I got a 12. Sorry.
Your dice love you, and I don't know if I should be mad about this.
Everything's
we
fine.
will-
I'm mad. I'm mad. It would have been so funny for Perin to be like, actually, I ship it. Fuck
Yeah.
this marriage. We're not doing this anymore.
Well, because but I
Yeah.
mean, like, I can totally explain that away just because it's like, our show's been so distant, and Roderick's been kind of like that really good big brother, I think, right? So I mean, like, it kind of makes sense that Perin's closer to Roderick. So yeah, sure, why not? But you keep it together, you get your
Also, a lot of
training.
religions have like truth and love, and like that being a core element of them.
Yeah. So
But
he
damn,
just
we're all very disappointed.
Exactly. He takes a deep sigh and he's just like, we will discuss this later. But for now, I am pleased to hear that you are in the right frame of mind about this matter.
I
And then he
highly doubt.
leaves. He just walks off because he can't deal with this right now.
And I think
are
you do
supposed
keep
to
talking.
rest. Like Roderick's just calling after him. It's like you were supposed to be taking a nap.
Totally unseen there. Oh, my heart. That's so beautiful. Let's go back to Llurywenn. Oh, man. I got you, sir. Chat says Bart tackles him. I got you, sir.
I just imagine him like coming out of nowhere when Roderick is like, you should know. Like, I got you. I'm making up for my mistakes.
Oh, I could picture it too. That's fine. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's beautiful. All right. So
I feel like at this point, like this is one of those. Roderick is probably, if he weren't so uptight about this, he would want to grab a beer with Bart. Like he's that kind of dude.
yeah, no, absolutely. Himbos together.
Yes.
You got the t-shirts. But maybe there is some opportunity for respite with better guards. I mean, Gauter and Alacritus have come back, and Gauter's come back to station himself near the princess's tent, if he doesn't already see Roderick there. And yeah, I mean, what does Llurywenn do?
Honestly, I've kind of been thinking that retroactively I should probably also endure heartbreak, because like she was like being the princess, like merciful, but I will kill you if you do this again. But she doesn't want to be this, and she doesn't want to do this.
Sure.
But I think another way we can set it up is when Llurywenn exits the tent, and we kind of get that scene of Alacritus arrives with or he's like talking there. Maybe like that's sort of the scene, like the camera pans as Perin walks away from Roderick, and we kind of pan to Llurywenn, and she's like looking at all of them. I think it sort of hits her suddenly just how truly alone she is, because she cannot trust Alacritus, because Garrison's dying words were that he is not to be trusted. She cannot trust Brother Perin, for the hymn came out of the prisoner's mouth. And while she can probably trust Roderick, she has lost him because she has broken his heart. So I think as she just kind of like stands there and she just realized like, this queen bit is all I have left now, I guess, in one night. And I think enduring heartbreak probably makes sense there. What I'm afraid of will happen if I lose control. Yeah, I guess that she's afraid that she's going to like really lean into the princess thing is all I've got and kind of become maybe a little bit of a tyrant, like call them all together, have like we can't be doing this, blah, blah, blah. And like not so much as I want to talk to you, but like dressing them down,
Yes.
And she really doesn't want to do that and probably get more lost.
Oh man,
Hey,
I
guys.
love these votes I love these votes for the heart endure heartbreak. My God.
Let's see how this goes.
Yes.
It's 1-1, but not 2, unfortunately. For a 9 total. Yes, a 9.
Okay.
What happens? I don't think we've had that yet. What happens?
I mean, that is still a success, but there is misfortune that will be laid into you for this. How do you show your stoicism in response to these conflicts in your heart?
Yeah, I think where we last saw her like on her knees crying in a dark and lonely tent, as she sort of emerges and very calmly takes in Alacritus, Perin, Roderick. You see her shoulders like square itself, her head, her chin goes up, defiantly almost to the gods in the heavens themselves, and her eyes are just like a steely, cold, like a gate that is, or like ice across a river, where you can tell that underneath there was supposed to be life and there was supposed to be currents and all of that, but it is frozen over and it will not show itself. And she kind of like walks forward and immediately kind of like, not in that over the top like tyrant way that she was afraid of, but like very very calm, very assertive, like starts, ordering people around, like, we're gonna break up camp, it's not safe to stay here, this and this and this, and just like very much is that princess taking control of the situation.
Yeah. Definitely going to say that is able to happen. Mark of virtue for your misfortune for this, as you're realizing the enormity of the situation. Like, what do you think is most appropriate for you to mark?
Honestly, I think ashamed. I think she's ashamed for like how she's treated Roderick, and she's ashamed of like she feels like she's very weak that this is like affecting her so much, because she's like, oh, a real princess wouldn't have emotions about this, right? Like they would just be able to do it, which is not true, but that's how she thinks. I think she's just like sort of overcompensating for how ashamed she feels.
I mean, they've had skirmishes in Avanyddyd. They've had some conflicts. Like, you've seen some political maneuvering and everything like this. But this is,
I mean, her
very
father
much in your
has been in a
face.
war. Yeah, father has been in the actual war, and he's like set all of this up, and he watched her go. He gave her up, and he didn't look back. So she can't shame him now.
And now you have to deal with whatever comes. Ooh, okay. Alrighty. So, do you address any? Well, besides the montage of addressing everyone in your own way, appropriately for like, let's get the move on, let's get everything going, which they were in the midst of anyway. But I mean, like,
Yeah, but she's
even
kind of
more
like,
so.
like directing it in the
Yeah.
way that she like thinks is best.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, ironically and inevitably, like countering Roderick's orders. Like she's not doing that on purpose, but I'm assuming that Roderick gave people orders like how to pack up, and she's now undoing them without knowing it.
Yeah.
I think interestingly, the most of the group traveling here are the people of Escavalon, so they are. I want to say they're more likely to follow Roderick's orders because they are technically
Totally.
under his command.
Mhm.
And like, sure, Llurywenn has the station, but like when faced with that kind of conflict, it might just be, all right, well, emotionally distraught princess versus guy who's been giving me orders for years.
Yeah, I feel like
Is
it's
this
like maybe some of the people we see them like sort of go like they're going to follow Llurywen's orders because they obviously can like openly defy them, and then like she walks past and they immediately go back to sort of what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's literally just that like I'm not gonna cause trouble, but I don't think so,
yeah,
lady.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually wanted to do a bit with Roderick. Once everyone's returned from their information gathering.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, if y'all are good with that, I think we have everything packed up and we're just about ready to depart. And once everyone's there, Roderick will ask the group at large, just everyone, who were these people? Why did they attack us now? What did they want? Will they be back? Just to everyone.
You're muted.
I feel like Alacritus, or recently being Alacritus, would immediately jump in, thinking his opinion is the most important one, so he should go first. So he immediately steps in to explain. In my investigations with Gauter, I believe these people will return. There are a number of them fled from the wagon when I was able to rescue Perin. What I know, what I know, but I'm not completely certain of who, I know that they are being directed by another hand. That is which I'm not uncertain as to what their true goals were, but the fact that Perrin was kidnapped before the attempt on our camp suggests information being relayed to them that a typical that they could not possibly be privy to without someone with inside knowledge.
Are you suggesting there's a traitor in our midst?
I cannot rule it out, no.
You see like a single nod from Roderick as he kind of silently thanks you for your opinion. And Roderick will look around to like next person for the same set of questions.
Perin is having a lot of trouble maintaining eye contact with either you or Princess Llurywenn right now. But he coughs and he's like kind of taking care of his sequel. Yes, I happened to speak with Xena, Magister Alacritus apprentice, when they got back. And they are using a poison that is very familiar with the black toad of Onwin, of the other world. And they would have had to know that it would not have killed some of us. So yes, that is a plausible explanation from the Magister, that perhaps we do unfortunately have an inside, I hate to say spy, but he just kind of trails off.
This is
Might
still like
I
in the
add,
middle
I'm-
of the camp, right? Like everyone can hear us say that there's a spy, right? Okay, go first, John, but then I think
Oh
Llurywenn
no,
will.
I'm sorry. I was mostly doing Alacritus being a dick and adding more information where it's not needed right now.
Oh,
Alacritus,
go ahead.
Might I also add that the poison would have likely been fatal to a human if not treated, but not to Fae. That was
And
it's an
Llurywenn.
important note. No, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, thought you were done.
I'm done.
Okay, Llurywenn like sort of holds up her hand, and like that princessly, majestic gesture, like holds up her hand until there is silence, and then says, "I shall not hear accusations of treachery until there is much more substantial proof of this. You have all sworn to travel with me, and you have all sworn to do so in good faith. This I shall believe. I will have no mistrust sown into this group, not more than there already was. We are in this journey together, so we have started it, and God willing, so we shall end it." But like while she's saying that, like very much being like, no, I trust you, blah, blah, blah. We're not gonna be at each other's throat. I would love to have my eye on Perin and Alacritus. And I have a move that like allows me to gain insight about secrets specifically. And I want to see like how they are reacting to Princess Llurywenn sort of doing this demonstration, not necessarily of naivete, but of like, no, there's no traitor. We don't have to, you're not find out, basically. And I want to see like how these two react to that. Because I think they're the traitors.
Which is
Is
what
there-
makes me laugh, because it's like, your words are like the spell, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it just feels like that. That's the way it works.
Is there a role
Exactly.
involved, or we just tell you?
I think it's gain insight. I don't know. I'll leave that up to Mads, whether that's a role or not.
Like, so which of the moves is it? I'm just gonna take a little look.
Yeah, it says
here.
you get +1 on rolls to gain insight about other people's secrets.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so-
I think you
Matters
do have to
related to,
roll.
yeah.
Go ahead and do.
Gain insight is wise.
Now, gain insight is getting an answer. And
Mhm.
depending on, of course, how big the roll is, that like how much of an answer you get. So instead of getting the answer from me, you would get it from the individuals, right? If you're going to prevail upon,
Yeah,
then you are
absolutely.
charming them towards like, revealing themselves or revealing whatever you want them to do.
Oh.
So there's like that's
Since
the
there's
difference.
players involved, I'll ask the both of you what you think is like more appropriate here. Like,
Yeah.
would this even be something that I can prevail upon, or is this like a gain insight because there's like simply no way you're going to?
I think you'll get more information from gain insight about Perin here, because
Yeah.
the secret that he's
Mm.
holding on to right now, he does not want to say out loud.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
don't think that either of them was going to like in this super public place are going to be like, actually.
Well, I mean,
hold on."
if you straight up ask out loud and intimidate him into speaking out loud, he will.
That's
but-
prevailing, yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
no,
prevailing.
no,
If you're
no,
just
I don't
examining
think-
his like general vibe, then that's probably more gain insight.
Yeah, I think the way I could see prevailing is if like this is the moment that the both of you kind of decide to cooperate with me, I could see that.
Mhm.
Where you're both like, okay, like she is right, we can't be holding secrets, like we
Mhm.
need to do something about that. That is, I would say, the prevail. If it's just like for me to see if you have a secret, I would do
Mhm.
gain insight.
Oh yeah, I can totally see
Okay.
like, inner eye kind of thing with gain insight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
like
can
she's-
tell.
She's seizing them up while giving this spiel about how important it is that we
Mhm.
keep trusting each other and how we're never gonna make it if we don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Such
what did we
inspiring
settle
words.
on?
I would say
Prob-
gain insight myself.
Yeah.
Insight?
Same.
Okay. Absolutely. I will mark my bond. I rewrote a dilemma at the start.
Okay.
Garrison told me not to trust matches or Alacritus. Brother Perin seems close, so can he perhaps be a source of information? So I will act like it kind of deals with the both of them and how
Yes.
suspicious I am of them. So I
Love
will
it.
mark that now for an
Mhm.
extra +1.
Extra +1, yes.
Okay. Which brings me to a 12.
Okay.
So if you're watching Perrin while you speak, he is definitely uncomfortable, but he's not uncomfortable during the part of your speech that you thought. Like when you talk about, oh, we can't mistrust each other, make accusations, he's like in full agreement with that. In his heart, he doesn't want there to be a spy among the group because he wants all of us to be simpatico and stuff. However, he also keeps having his eyes like dart over to Roderick and over to you and looking like really uncomfortable about that fact. So you are aware he knows that Roderick is in love with you, essentially.
I don't think
As much as
Llurywenn, knows to
Llurywenn.
that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like she knows, but she's like, we're hardcore in denial mode because don't
So-
offer me the thing that I want.
Exactly. He's aware of that relationship is the secret that you want.
Mhm. Okay. And what do I
Or
see
the-
from Riesling? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the utter lack of relationship between Roderick and Llurywenn at the moment.
Exactly.
The
he's aware of
on-site.
yes, exactly. The pining or whatever.
Oh my God. I think in that case, I think it would probably look across Perrin's face, like not like sus, like completely sus. It would more look like blushing because of the secret that he knows. You know?
Which is probably how you're getting that across.
Yeah,
That
Mhm.
it's.
he
I'm
looks
imagining
uncomfortable,
like
but a different
fully.
way.
Yeah, I'm imagining like fully, like how your friends are when you talk to your crush, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so totally super normal about this. What do we see of Alacritus slash Riesling as she gives her little speech?
Well, I mean, if they're making eye contact, I think part of him just seems like a little bit confused as to why she looked in his direction because he
I
feels
think
like
she's like doing a very like she is
Yeah.
very deliberately not signaling anyone out. So it's like a very like I'm addressing like I'm doing a speech.
Okay,
Everyone
okay.
is.
Well,
It's like
okay, and
Galadriel in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
But she has she has rolled exceptionally well for gaining insight about your secrets.
Mhm.
So, and she was directing it like, part of it to you, Alacritus, Riesling. So,
Yeah, I think his reaction is mostly like he like starts to close off, like take a more closed off posture, and kind of half glances probably in the direction of Gauter, and then he's like kind of just look, but he just like he looks like he wants to say something, and he's mostly like this looks like he's holding like he wants to say something but refuses to, but won't talk. Like he just very much looks like he wants to speak up, but isn't.
Mhm. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
anything
I think
like
it's
sort
also
of
like
as
a
she
like
finishes
an
that.
extra tie too, because Riesling being Fey and of some sort, and then you having ties to the Fey, Llurywenn. I
Mhm.
think that comes across of his willingness to
Yeah, I
talk,
feel
but he
like
won't
it's
do it
almost
now.
like that over defensiveness, right?
Mm.
Like you don't
Mhm.
react like that if there's truly nothing going on, but it's like so much like it's like okay, I see. And like after she's done, she'll sort of like do a gesture like please do continue this conversation, but I will hear no accusations of treachery. And she will, I think, go ahead.
After Llurywenn is done, Roderick would pick up from there, if that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
All right. And Roderick's just again addressing everyone with so what have we learned about our assailants? kind of at Gauter, just because, you were also supposed to be on watch and you were also not at your post. So, please tell me you have something.
Gouter will step forward and do a report to you, but it's at large, and basically report on what they found, what he and Alacritus had found at the wagon site where Perin was captured. Obviously, gestures and says, we brought back, I guess, the donkey, and we would have had another captive, except they escaped. And Gouter distinctly does not say that it was Alacritus who tied the knots or whatever, or didn't tie the knots, and that the captive escaped, but whatever. And then mention the distillery of the poison or whatever that was found. I guess if Alacritus discloses that he's got the herbs, then of course they'll Gouter will talk about the stuff that was found in the wagon, and that he will not mention either the handkerchief as well. So,
Okay.
Might I make a suggestion, brother? So far, there are many unknowns, as you say, about these assailants. But the one thing that we do know or suspect, if they have attacked the Magister, is they will come again. Does it not make sense then for us to make as much haste as possible to meet with our brother Archode and come under his protection? And then it will not matter who these bandits are, because we will be beyond their reach.
Of course, you are quite correct. And, Roderick looks around pointedly at the camp that is all packed up and, on the verge of departing. Of course, we shall make haste. 'Twas you who informed me that we as a group have more information than any one individual. I was simply hoping to avail myself of your strengths looking around so that we may be better informed. Thank you.
This is very fair. Thank you.
I might add, from our investigation in the wagon, I have to say from my initial statement that this was a purely mundane threat. The escapee demonstrated abilities beyond mortal means, so this potentially is more than just a purely mundane issue.
Do you mean to imply your escaped captive was a fae?
Gouter will come forward again and say, there is the very high possibility of that, sir.
Either that or, yes.
They seem to be very talented in and I'm trying to figure out the words myself. It's not that Gouter doesn't have the words, but basically Gouter says it's they're very good at wiping away their tracks, because he tracked them as far as he could, and they are as skilled as he in terms of making their way through the forest in a stealthy way. So,
Magister, you always let me know that the Fae are inherently treacherous and cunning, and if they are after us, then making haste is even more of a even more something we need to do immediately.
Gouter will speak up to you, Perin, and say, now, Sir, Brother Perin, not all Fae fall under the same title.
Yeah.
Well, these certainly
Alacritus'
do.
face scrunches up a little bit when he makes that statement.
Yeah, I mean, like Gauter has a furrowed brow at your very bold umbrella statement. It's like that's
Llurywenn, yeah, will kind of nod at Brother Perin and say, Brother Perin, I understand your emotions. We have been through a lot, but I must request that you refrain from such bold statements. If we see people as our enemy, then they shall have no choice but to be our enemy. I would rather talk of peace.
Yes, of course.
Treacherous.
I
think-
spoke out of turn. I apologize.
You are free to speak your mind, as we all are in this camp.
See, Roderick's eyes
That's
going
just-
very hard. Like, it doesn't say anything, but you can see, like, his expression just shuts down.
Gauter will bow to you a little bit, Sir Roderick, and say, "With your leave, sir, I will blaze the trail ahead to make sure that everything is clear for our departure now."
Yeah, Roderick nods and, like, kind of assents to this, looks around and says, Brother Perin is right. We must make haste. And from Roderick's perspective, he's gotten all that he can out of this meeting, so he's gonna turn to, like, getting the equipment and stuff moving to follow Gauter.
Gauter will immediately, like do that zigzaggy parkour motion through the trees, and then you see his back, pretty much tree dancing his way ahead. He's got his bow out, and just looking for anything that could impede your progress. And we can end this session there of the wagons or whatever you are taking at this point, leaving this place and making your way through the forest as fingers of dawn will stretch across the sky. It has been a long night, and hopefully it will be a reasonable day. And time for stars and wishes. Oh wait, end of session stuff. Sorry, end of session. Sorry, I gotta
wait,
get to it.
Jonn, did you had a thing?
Oh no, I was unmuted and I was starting to say something, but then other people started talking, so I thought my mic
I'm sorry.
wasn't working.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Here.
Did you want to?
Please proceed.
Do your thing.
Oh, I'm not. I mean, at this point, it's kind of past the moment because I was just going to respond to Parent, and it seemed like everyone else was responding, so I thought maybe my mic wasn't working. But that's fine.
Did you want to do an aside to Perrin? Like for the
No, we'll leave it where it stands. With I mean, I think Riesling would have responded to the statement Parent made. Just that Riesling would have scrunched up his face and probably said something to that. But I think
maybe we can start
leave it where it stands.
next episode. With both of us riding on the wagon together and having let me recorrect some of the things that Magister Alacritus might have taught you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Mark that. Okay. So end of session. Mark XP as follows. Battled. If you made the battle move at least once during the session, mark 1 XP. If endured heartbreak, if you've made the endure heartbreak move at least once during the session, mark 1 XP. Okay. Unmark all dilemmas if you had marked them this session. Update your bonds as necessary if anything has changed. And you have the opportunity at this point to rewrite your dilemmas as needed. And then you will also get the opportunity to do so at the very beginning of session as well. I forgot to do that today. I apologize. I will get combobulated.
I will say it's so hard to hit that battle trigger. It's not like we're all and I understand it's not just fighting, that it's also arguments and stuff, but it doesn't feel like we're that kind of group.
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of like a courtly thing too. It's like if there's any courtly intrigue, if there's any kind of you're going up against town folk, or you're going up against authorities in a certain place or what have you. I mean, we could see more of that. So yeah, you just haven't had a chance to be in a town yet, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and maybe it's like I should have pulled more, oh, Llurywenn, you better be battling this person or whatever, but you kind of got him captured, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit lax on that too, but that's where I figured it makes the most sense, as well as battling in terms of like, oh, you're you know, in treating them in a field melee kind of way. That's different as well. So, yeah, I mean, totally talk about it, totally
Yeah.
do it for
If
next
I have
time.
a wish, it's like, yeah, at some point before the series ends, I want to have a debate off with someone, I guess, or like a spiritual battle or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So, stars and wishes. Stars are things that you enjoyed from the session, each other, for today, and then wishes are what you'd like to see for next time in the future. We have, oh my god, I can't believe we're already in like halfway. Well, more than halfway, right? Because there will be 1, 2, 3 more sessions of this. So, yeah, I want to stick the landing. So also, if we can have like the landing the plane talk offline too, that would be fine, because it's like I'd like to know what you see happening. I mean, I definitely see you getting to Spirit Hawk Peak, not without problems, but I mean, I see you getting to Spirit Hawk Peak like at the very last session, and then dealing with whatever fallout happens from there. So,
I definitely want to see the very dramatic wedding that gets interrupted, but inevitably. So,
yeah, we may have to fast forward to that depending on what happens in the next couple of sessions, but I mean, like, you know, we will definitely have
yeah.
a wedding. Not a red wedding. I'm hoping not a red wedding. Oh my god. So,
Hope not anyway.
yeah, I hope not.
Yeah, I can go for stars and wishes. Stars. Alex, I really liked Perin just going like, but she's betrothed. Like I hadn't expected like such a straightforward, like, dude, what are you doing? Like everyone has been so like courtly and intrigued about like all the information that they got with, you know, like Llurywenn, like, you know, I'm gauging their reactions and I'm sending a spy to read what is the letter and like all that kind of stuff. And Baron is just like, dude, it was so good. Like, absolutely loved it. I mean, it makes like 100% sense, right? But it was really fun. I love also like how you're playing up like that conflict of like, I can see that my brother, you know, is upset because this can't go anywhere, and maybe indeed your religion would say that like Roderick is sort of the right party here. But obviously, like the mundane, the political duty is our child, and I really love like how that sort of portrayed. And I also really just a lot of fun Perrin moments. I loved him just like walking off. That was great. Just like, no, we're not doing this. Like he's been so like simmering with that anxious energy, and sort of seeing it explode in this way was just really absolutely fantastic. For Jonn, I really liked I like that like Riesling just like came forward with it. But to Gauter of all people, that was a really interesting choice. And I like the bit with where he's like, you know, like I don't know if he always does the right thing to make his plans work, which is like a very bold thing to say about like a Gandalf type of person. And I like that a lot. I also really liked the familiar conversation. Like that was very fun. So that was, and also just like straight up drop kicking a dude. That was pretty cool. Like I'm not as old as I look. That's a very funny thing to say. I like that. For Noctua, yeah, Roderick's going through it, and I feel so bad for him. Like, someone give him a hug. I loved how you sort of played up that he, um, like he didn't want to be stern with Bart, like he kind of gets it, but you know, like there were major repercussions, so he does have to, you know, be that person in that moment. And I thought that was very interesting. Sort of also as a foil to Llurywenn, who was like all this session also doing a lot of like harsher things that she doesn't want to do, but she has to do. So I thought that was very interesting. And I love how, just like how, I don't want to say petty, but like how hard her comment hit him, where he's just like constantly like, no, she will obviously never talk to me again. Because it's like so funny how he's like, I'm totally cool with it, but like the way that he keeps bringing it up in like such an emotional way, like he's obviously not cool with it. And I like that a lot. And I also loved how when like Perin was like, oh, but she's gonna marry someone else, like Roderick didn't deny at all that he indeed was in love with Llurywenn. He's just like, no, it's fine because she doesn't want to talk to me anyway. It's just like the worst thing he could have said. And I loved it so much. Like it was so fantastic. And I'm like, oh, right. And also I'll do my duty. But most of all, she doesn't want to talk to me. And yeah, I love that. I also loved him sort of calling the meeting at the end. Like just a portrayal of his role as like the captain of this whole thing. It was really interesting to see. Like for all the himbo Roderick jokes that we make, he really is very competent and like very good at what he does. For Mads, I loved the scene with the prisoner, like him wanting to say something but not being able to. I thought that was a really cool twist. That was like very fey and creepy, and like, you know, like how far and deep is this conspiracy going that they're going to such measures, right? Also like the hymn, that was really cool because it's like not really an answer, but it is enough of an answer to make Llurywenn suspicious. Like, you know, is that just because of the divine? Is that because that's who ordered it? Like that was very, very interesting. For wishes, I think I would like to see Macing maybe in like pacing terms, maybe some shorter scenes or like scenes where we cut a little bit more often. Because I feel like the camera was like on a particular person for a very, very long time during the session. And that's great because sometimes you just, you know, scenes have to play out. And I loved watching all the scenes, but I think having like some cuts here and there where we come back to it but do something else first, I think like that could have driven up the tension a little bit at some points. And I would also love to engage a little bit more with the mechanics that I have like I have a few moves of mine that I haven't really engaged with. Like I can get courteous rolls when I target my bonds. I have like the epic move that hasn't really come up. So I would love to maybe see a little bit more of that, sort of like echoing what Alex said. Also like the belling, just like a little bit more mechanics maybe. Oh, and scenes wise, we had a few scenes that we set at the beginning that we didn't actually get to, for Llurywenn and Alacritus and Llurywenn and Perin. I think they might need to chase like a little bit, but I think the core elements are still there. Obviously, Llurywenn and Roderick should at some point talk, and maybe make up. I don't know. Hopefully, I think Llurywenn wants to, but we'll have to see how that goes. Because I also think like that's the more dramatic setup for the wedding, right? Like if they're both already like, well, I can't even talk to you, then the wedding isn't really gonna be dramatic because we've already decided. So I do want to sort of, this is like their dark patch, and I kind of want to see how they change and how they can grow through this.
Oh, yeah. So stars. I really liked Perrin and Roderick's interaction, like the whole like cat in the spot and like sit down next to me so we can have a serious conversation, and then after that, he just blows up and leaves. But this is it's like you're in your house and you leave. That's what it felt like. Like, but this is your house. Why are you leaving? But it was, so I like that. I think I really like Llurywenn bringing everyone together to be very queenly because that's what she's clinging to because she thinks everything else. Like she can't trust anyone and gives this great speech about we all need to trust each other. And she's just like, I was like, oh yes, like who is that speech for her or is that speech for us? So it was very much like that vibe. Uh, the conversation with Roderick and Llurywenn is just like very much it just feels a little heartbreaking that Roderick is trying to they're both clinging to their particular roles so hard that I love that. I also like being able to have I think Gauter pressing Alacritus as hard as he did was great because I think he had to tell someone, and it was just a matter of time, and it was just like one of those things that's just like, yeah, there's no lying your way out of you don't smell like Alacritus, and it's just like it is just like there's nothing I can do about that, so there's no lying my way out of that. So he just came clean. So I did like that. Um, I think a wish is well. I think after I really would want to have the conversation with Perin. I do want to have. I guess at this point the conversation I had with Xena is kind of past because that was like a conversation I was think that needed to happen before to get together and do the report before we set out on the road. So I don't think it's worthwhile as a flashback after having that conversation. But I do think they need to talk about like me needing to reestablish that the relationship between them because he's guilty. He feels a little guilty about maybe he put her in a situation she's not prepared for. Even though I know she's probably not going to want to hear that, but I think that is a conversation they need to have. I think my only other wish is I think I would like Alacritus to have more conversations with actual other players. I feel like a lot of his conversations end up being with the NPCs more, or like maybe he's done a few too many. It's too many with. I don't know. It's like I think they would like to have, more, especially the one with Perin. That's me.
Noctua, do you want me to go first or? Okay. I already kind of did my wishes. I actually I do want to have that scene at the beginning of the episode with Alacritus and me riding together. I think that would be fun. I would like to see more Alacritus and Llurywenn scenes actually, because I'm real curious about that relationship. So maybe if we can find a way to get you two together. Most people have already done the stars I noted, so I'll just do little moments that I liked. I really liked when Riesling was like, I don't know how to tie rope. I'm not a sailor or anything. That made me laugh really hard because I'm like, yeah. And Gauter was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I liked Jazy. I liked how you're showing Llurywen's emotional turmoil in terms of like, I have to step up and do this role. I feel like a lot of us are really similar in that way, where we are very focused on duty, and that stops us from saying what we want to say or what we really mean. So in terms of vibes, we're all really getting that across. And not sure. I always really love scenes with Roderick, talking about brother stuff. That's really cool. But I also kind of liked when Roderick could have like really laid into Bart, but instead like he was a little stern, but he kept from going that far. And I thought that was pretty revealing about his character too. Yeah, and just seconding what the other people said. I don't want to revisit the wishes and stuff. So
I think I finally got all mine figured out. Sorry, I had to think about it. Um, so yeah, for Alex, the scene with Perrin and Roderick, I think that was a long time coming. I'm really glad we got there because yeah, that's kind of been hanging over the story, and I'm finally glad that we could explore that. Just like how much they they both like genuinely care, but they kind of struggle to communicate, and I love that that came across. Also, Roderick just he's he's a bit of an idiot. Like he could have said, "Oh no, there's absolutely nothing between me and the princess," but he did not.
We're to be fair, we're both pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Things are just constantly going like whoosh.
Yeah, Roderick is self-aware enough to realize, wait a minute, there's stuff I'm not understanding. I should ask for help. But yeah. Um, for Llurywenn, I'm I'm really impressed and really surprised at how hard she's clinging on to her pride. Like she's like, this is my duty. I must be the queen. But for someone in her position where she is like a stranger in a strange land, she's really holding on to her pride really hard. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how everybody else reacts to that. So I think this is going to be really interesting. I love that Lurywin's clinging so hard to her duty and like I must be the princess. I must be the princess. I kind of want to see how we break. Like between Roderick trying to be like, okay, I will do my duty and nothing more, and Lurywin going, I must do my duty. That is all I have left. Like I want to see how we break. Uh, and then for Riesling, I love the reveal, especially to Gauter, who's been like on you from the beginning. Roderick still has no idea about any of this, but I really like that, and I'm really curious to see what Gauter does with that information, or if Riesling will come to trust like Perrin, for example, enough to reveal that, like of his own volition without being under duress. So I'm curious. All right, wishes for next time. Uh, I really want to see Roderick and Llurywenn interact. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they want to like reconcile or if they want to fight about it first, but I need to see them do something. We'll find out. uh, I also want to. I kind of want to see if there's there's something happening between our NPCs that I want to see like tie with the plot more. Like we Roderick doesn't know this, but like there was the handkerchief and Xena, and I'm like, there's something happening here. I want to know what. Roderick doesn't have the means to ask any of these questions. So I'm really curious to see where that goes. And yeah, I want to see Riesling talk to Perrin. Like, that's going to be so much fun. Also, I just love Sir Bart. I just love Sir Bart. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat any stars because it's like, I've been circling like a lot of the stars that like of what people want to see, people enjoyed. But I will say I love overall the way that each of you are like you have your outer role and you are leaning into that so hard because it's like you're covering up for what you're actually thinking and feeling, and it's just so great to see. And that whole like endure heartbreak, it was very reasonable this episode, absolutely. So for sure it was like, if anything, get points for that because God knows, I mean, like, that's really what you're fighting against. Yeah, I'm sorry if like we're not doing a whole ton of mechanics. I mean, I feel like this is very much an episodic thing of things are being found out, things are getting done, but I feel like now I'm gonna feel like I need more time, so we're gonna be like busting through a lot of things, fast forwarding a lot just to get to the big scene that we want to see at the very end, which is do they wed or don't they, or what the hell happens? Because I think the conversation between like Roderick and Llurywenn, like as a wish, would have to be something that kind of brings them back together and really, number one, gives us that shipping that we're all looking towards. You know, more expensive than we expect, and two, like to really drive home the fact that, oh shit, you know, we're bringing her to her betrothed, regardless of how you two feel about each other. So I mean, like, you know, definitely want to see that. Perin and Alacritus / Riesling, like, you know, getting together, and does Riesling tell Perin? You know, I mean, because Perin's all what is it, hero mentor about Alacritus, but you're not Alacritus, you're Riesling. You know, you're faking being somebody else. What the hell? You know, so how does that truth come out? I don't know. So I definitely want to see that. Yeah, in terms of engaging more mechanics, it's like yeah, we'll have to figure out how this works in, and that could be part of the offline landing the plane discussion. It's like, you know, where do you see using these particular things to activate your character more and really get engaged with the game as the game, and not just an excuse to have character moments, which have been good. I mean, I apologize if we've seen a little bit more of the NPCs than we should, but I mean, I also wanted to do a little bit more reveal this session, as you've well found out. So I mean, like, yeah, there's quite a few hands in the quite a few thumbs in the pie right now. So yeah. And if you want me to just transfer them to stinger scenes, I can do that too. So, you know, just let me know. It's fine. Okay, so anybody for anything else? I mean, like, we have the list. We'll have the recording once this converts. For next session, we're already lining up, like, Perin and Alacritus, Riesling, having a conversation when we start next time, and I can't wait to see what that looks like for sure. You know, so exciting stuff. Again, please do not feel limited in terms of, like, you know, making the discussion about what you want to see for next time, or to help land that plane, because it's like, you know, I want you guys to feel like your last session is going to be the culmination of all your great works thus far. Okay, so definitely discuss. All right, so with that, you guys have a wonderful week. Happy gaming for anything else that you're doing this week, and we shall see you next time. Oh my gosh, a week goes so fast. Thank you all. Bye.